But speaking of CM Punk, former WWE superstar and the wife of CM Punk, AJ Mendez was showing support for the Writers Guild strike. We saw some photos online on Twitter. Just wanted to know, how do you feel about seeing her kind of support this cause and just kind of seeing AJ out in the open, seeing AJ outside? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know why, but it kind of annoys me because it's just she has like a bunch of fans and they're always cooing to her and begging for her to make an appearance, come back to wrestling, work backstage. If she doesn't want to put her body on the line, do something. And it's just like she comes outside for the most randomest fucking thing. Like, what are you doing here at this strike? Like, AJ Lee is so unbothered. Like, I'm not even like a huge AJ Lee fan because like I kind of like paused watching wrestling from that era, but I understand why her fans are so attached to her. But I just feel so sorry for all the AJ Lee fans because she don't give a fuck about y'all.
Hmm,
She just be
that's a
doing
fact.
whatever the fuck.
Right.
She wrote comic books. She dyed her hair. She'll show herself making some treats. Like she just does like whatever besides answer your calls.
Right. Literally that.
She like friend zones all of you guys. So I don't really have a comment on this. I just know that she just don't give a fuck. And I need all y'all
Hmm.
on Twitter who keep begging for her to come back, and revive the era that she did for us. I just need y'all to put it to rest. I'm so over it. Cause she don't care.
She don't give a damn.
She doesn't. Do you have any comments on her being partaking in this writer's strike?
So here's uh,
She makes me
photos around
laugh,
the
yo. She
house.
just don't give a
It's
fuck.
hilarious because she's really outside living her best life.
Away from
Um,
y'all. More
Away from your
importantly.
like right, heavy on that. But here's what I'm gonna say. If it's so good to see AJ Mendez outside. Because I think the last thing that I heard from her or of her was that she was writing for WoW, Women of Wrestling, which is the promotion that Tessa Blanchard was in for like a cup of coffee and then whatever
So
happened
was
happened.
Nikita, actually. Fun fact. Go ahead.
I remember Nikita. Do you mean what was it?
Faithy
Faithy
J.
J?
Yeah.
Faithy J? All right, yeah. So, she was, apparently she had a role in that. Um, hold on, or you can,
She did. She did.
um,
And didn't WoW have a lot of controversy too? Like, I don't know too much about WoW, but I know that like the person who obviously led it was a woman, but there was like some controversy behind her. So a lot of people were not behind the fact that AJ was a writer or from some prominent role for this company. And is that company doing anything? Does that company work year round? I don't hear nothing about WoW
they
ever.
do seasons. They do seasons. So they
Oh,
do a
that's
season
ghetto.
of WoW and then they move on, and they do a season of WoW and then they move on. But here's what I was gonna say. It feels good to
Hmm.
see AJ outside because the last time I kind of heard or saw her was about WoW.
Hmm.
So just the fact that she's, out doing well, good to
Yeah.
see that and supporting a cause. I'll put you on game as far as this writer strike is concerned, and I'll summarize it briefly. So for those of you who are unaware, the writer strike is essentially what has happened is that WGA, the Writers Guild of America, and the Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers, um, they have not come to an agreement as far as compensation for the writers of a lot of Hollywood television and movies. And so what happened is that a lot of writers just kind of walked out on shows. There's about, I think, 11,500 of them. And essentially the reason why there is a strike is because there is a urge and a push to kind of revisit certain contracts and agreements pertaining to film. The way that it was set up, back in the early 2000s, you would write for a show, you would continue to get paid off of the show when it re-airs. So anytime a show re-airs, say if you wrote for 911, right?
Hmm.
You wrote for an episode of 911, you
Yeah.
wrote that episode, every time it re-airs, you get a check,
Ooh.
right? Now, because all of the shows have gone to streaming, but yet the agreement hasn't been updated, a lot of people, a lot of writers aren't getting the same compensation that they were
Oh,
getting.
that
They would
sucks.
just they would just get like one lump sum, and then that's it. They don't see any money off of the show because it goes to streaming, and when it goes to streaming, they don't have an agreement for that. So now, because they weren't able to come to an agreement, all the writers just kind of walked off the show. And it sucks because it's not like companies are losing money. Companies are making record profits off of this content and off of these shows. But it's just that there has not been an agreement that has been agreed upon by multiple parties in the studios. And now all these writers are kind of walking out. So
Mm.
that's what this whole strike is about. So to
Mm.
see AJ kind of support that cause, I think it's really, really cool and really, really ethical of her. Yeah, that's all that I had to say about it. That's really all I had to say.
That's actually
But
pretty cool. All right. All right.
right on. Corporate Mo supports
Yeah,
AJ.
I endorse.
Striking AJ. Yeah. But we're gonna move on from that because